Welcome back, everyone. Lonnie Payne here with another pinball video, reminding you, if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, share. Let's get going.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
I decided to do a video on my virtual pinball machine. Now, I know some people think that's a bad word in the pinball industry, but I kind of like it. This is not really a how to build one video. It's more of just showing you the highlights of what I decided to do with mine to maybe give you some ideas if you're wanting to build one. And maybe if there's enough interest, maybe I'll do a little bit more in-depth video later on how I built it. But I'm just going to give you some details, some of the features that I built into it, maybe give you something to think about if you're looking to build one on your own. And if you're ready, let's get going. Alright, so here's my virtual pinball machine. It's actually made out of a World Cup soccer cabinet. I bought a project game down at one of the auctions in Dallas for $50 a couple years ago, and finally restored the cabinet and turned it into a VP game. And it has a little bit of an unconventional look because of some of the things I decided to do, and I'll explain those individually. But it's got a 4K 43-inch TV, and this AC/DC is actually a 4K table, and I mean, it looks absolutely stunning. I don't think the video will probably do it justice, but I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. And I have several 4K tables. And then there's a standard computer monitor for the DMD, and then that's a 32-inch 720p Backbox TV. And I've got it hooked up to a subwoofer. The sound is absolutely amazing. Got some pile speakers. Can't really take anything out to show you the inside, but I'll try and give you a look at what the inside looks like. So like I said, it's a real pinball cabinet, and so you can kind of see the computer back there. I built a little shelf for it to sit on, and I actually put it on some foam pads so you can actually nudge the machine and it won't transfer to the computer. And I actually got a solid state drive in there. And then I've got a LePi 2.1 amplifier. So it's got the subwoofer channel plus the two regular channels. The little green circuit board you see there controls. I've got a transformer, and then that actually converts it for power for the lighted flipper buttons. Got a separate transformer for a computer transformer. So I've got it hooked up to the video card because it takes more power to run the video card, and it didn't have enough 12-volt lines, so I'm using that. Then that little board to the side there with the blue light, that actually is a delayed board that the Backbox wouldn't turn on when I turned the power on, so I actually wired that into the power button, so it actually triggers the power button when I turn the machine on. So I just kind of had to do a little workaround there. I've got a little power strip, everything's plugged in on over there. And then that power strip's actually plugged to the main button here. And then I'll show you some of the other features that are built into it. I'm using a virtual pin controller board, which actually has all the button connections, and then it also has a gyro, so you can actually nudge the machine and it actually will affect the ball. Can I help you? And so all the buttons on the coin door and everything are actually plugged into that board, so it actually functions like a regular pinball machine. I can turn up the volume, make adjustments through those. And then what I actually did, there's a little button here that I push, and it'll simulate the coin door being open, and then I can make any kind of adjustments. Another thing I've got also from Virtual Pin is this plunger system, which is an optical system on the inside that a real plunger goes into, and you can actually see as you pull back, you know, you can adjust it, and you can actually do skill shots and everything with the plunger. You can also launch the ball with the red button as well. So when you're going through and you want to select a table, you just hit that button, then the table actually loads. And I've got this thing to where it actually runs on quarters, you know, so it's just like a regular pinball machine. And so now we're up, ready to run, ready to play. And then when you're done with the table, you simply have the exit here, and it goes back into the same place, and you can start looking for other tables to play. And then on the side, there's actually two buttons. You got your flipper button, but yet you got your second button here that can be programmed per game if you have like a MagnaSave or something, so you can actually get all those functions to work. And then also you can program this button to do certain things in a game. And then the way I get this to be turned off is there's a button underneath, just a regular button, comes up, then you use your flipper to go to shutdown, and then when you hit the start button, it'll actually shut that whole thing down, and then you can safely turn the power off. Okay, one of the things you'll notice on the side of the machine is I got this piece of wood that kind of sticks out a little bit, and then I've got this, actually it's a powder coated metal plate on the side, and that's actually by design. One of the things I don't like about some of the virtual pinball machines I've seen is when you put a TV on the inside, you lose some viewable area. So you might have 3/4 of an inch or something, you know, so the screen's actually smaller, and when you bring that side in, it makes it not as deep as well. And by the same thing, I've seen a lot of VEPs up here that the back box screen is smaller, so you don't get as big a picture. So what I ended up doing was I ended up cutting the sides of the back box and the cabinet so I could actually slide the TV into the cabinet so I could have the maximum amount of viewable area side to side. And what that allowed me to do was get a wider screen, if you will, so I could get more of the playfield to its what I would call normal size. So what I ended up doing, kind of like for the apron, I have a black painted piece of wood right here, and then the TV starts right there, and then when I adjusted the actual play fields, I measured how far the flippers are normally away from a lockdown bar on all my tables, and actually adjusted them to where the flippers were in the right spot for your normal viewing. They're not way up here, down here, whatever. And if you'll see, my screen goes almost all the way to the actual glass channel. It's only about an inch short, and so I've got the little back panel that I built. But a lot of VPs may stop way up here or something, and I just didn't want that. So I would rather have the screen sticking out a little bit and have to be covered by this little piece of wood, which I'll take off and show you. And on the back box, it's actually flush with the back box, so I was able to use this metal plate instead of have to groove out the inside of a piece of wood. But I'll take those off now, and I'll show you what that actually looks like. Okay, so now they're removed, and you can see it actually hangs out about 1/4 inch, and then I kind of see I built a wood piece on the inside to where it makes a little ledge, so that sits on there perfectly. It's all really tight, so there's no vibration, but you can see the screen goes all the way to the edge, so there's no wasted space. And then on the back box, like I said, it's actually flush mounted. And this actually is cut a little bit wider than the other side because you actually have to move the TV when you put it in, slide it this way to get it all the way in, and then slide it that way to center it. And so I had to make a little bit extra because the back box or the back of the TV was protruding out a little bit. And so, you know, I would rather give up a little bit of aesthetics on the side and then have more viewable area on the inside. And you can see on the inside of this, there's just a groove that actually just fits right over the top of that, fits flush. And, you know, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, it's a little unconventional, but, you know, like I said, I'll give that up to have a better experience actually playing the machine. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, I've got a little bit of felt on the inside of the metal piece that goes on the back box, and that way when everything's all nice and tight in there, there's no vibration from sound or anything. All right, here's the back of the machine, and what I've done is I've got a couple metal panels that have been powder coated that cover up the computer and the back of the TV for access points basically, and I'll show you what those look like taken off. All right, so here's the back of the machine, panels removed. So like I said, it gave me easy access to the back box TV if I need to do anything, adjust anything. and then actually the back of the computer. So if I need to work on anything, it's a little bit easier to get back here. Of course, once you get everything set up, you almost never have to do this, but when I was actually getting the thing set up, getting the connectors set up, it made it pretty handy to be changing an HDMI connector or something to a different plug for the video card when I was getting everything dialed in. And then obviously I've got 2 exhaust fans that you need to have to dissipate the heat. And I'll talk a little bit about the software I use. I use Pinball X, and there are other software out there, but Pinball X seems to work pretty good for what I've done. I've been using it for a while. And what I decided to do, I always kind of like to do things a little different. And so I'm going to exit the table, and I'll show you what I've done is I've done all active back glasses, but then also for your DMD screen, when you're looking through what tables you want to play, I wanted to have something a little different there. So anytime there's a music theme pin, I actually have a music video playing. Anytime I have a movie theme pin, I have the actual trailer of the movie playing in that screen. And what it'll do, it'll actually play it once, and then it'll continue playing the video, but it won't play the audio. So that way, if you have it just sitting there not being played in your arcade while other things going on, it's not constantly making noise. So now we're on the front end, and I've got the logo playing up in 24, but you can see it's not making any noise because it's already been through once. And so when we start changing to different machines, so like we'll go to AC/DC here, then it'll start playing Back in Black video. I tell you, with a subwoofer and everything, the sound on this thing's amazing. So it'll play that whole music video and then go to just where it's only the video and no audio. But pretty much all the tables have something in them. Like Adam's Family actually has the trailer, you know, to the movie. And then some of them I took a little bit of liberty with. For instance, 14 Tomcat. Show you that one. So I've got the whole intro scene to Top Gun where they're flying off the boat. Just thought that was so cool. Of course, Guns N' Roses got to have Welcome to the Jungle. All right, turn the amp off so we can talk without having the music in the background. But what I've done is I've recorded a video of every game playing, and so you can see in a track mode that's an actual MP4 video playing. So every game you look at, it actually has, instead of a picture of the game, it actually has it playing. And I just think that's just a cool feature. Now the videos aren't as high as resolution as the actual tables themselves, so you know I've got several 4K tables. And I'll say this, that Visual Pinball 10 tables play the best, in my opinion. Future Pinball, there are some cool tables out there, but I don't really think the physics add up. Their physics seem more EM type physics, but there are some cool tables, so I have some on here. But Visual Pinball 10 and Visual Pinball 9 I think are the best. And what you have to understand with this is you're not trying to replace pinball. I don't have this as a replacement for pinball. I mean, obviously, you can see my game room. I love pinball and I love real pinball, but I just thought this was cool from the simple fact I can play games that I don't have and play games that I probably will never have. And so it allows me that luxury of playing Indiana Jones. I can play Getaway. I don't have it, you know, and so it's just kind of neat to be able to play that. Kids really tend to like this. You know, I guess they're in a video game, so it's kind of neat. But with the Virtual Pin controller, it's such a responsive system that it plays great, and so it's a lot of fun. And I know there's people that don't like VPs, and that's fine. But you know, I'll never replace pinball, but it's something that's fun, and I can play it at night with headphones on. Nobody hears me. I'm not bothering anybody. So just kind of a cool thing. I wanted to build one, try it, and I think it, you know, turned out pretty well. You know, I actually have a real back glass on here in front of that TV, and then also you can see that there's a little bit of an angle built into the TV. Not much, but a little bit, and that gives it a little bit more authentic look than just right up here, you know, right against the glass. Because there's a lot of VPs that, I mean, are, you know, the glass basically is a TV, whereas this is actually recessed and actually has real pinball glass on top, so it has that just a little bit of layback and just gives it, to me, a little bit more of an authentic look. But it got 137 tables on there, and, you know, it's a fun machine. But I just want to show you a couple of these tables that were made in 4K. I mean, just absolutely stunning tables. I mean, just beautiful. I mean, they almost look real when you look at them. And so here's The Walking Dead that's 4K. I mean, just, the game is just beautiful. Got some really talented guys out there that can do this virtual pinball stuff, and like I said, it allows me to play Walking Dead, and I don't have one, so you know, when they look this good and play this well, it makes it fun. And of course, when you have a VP, you can do stuff that's a little bit out of the ordinary. So this game actually has Michael Jackson call-outs and stuff. It's pretty funny.
I wasn't that scared.
Well, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you got some ideas if you're looking to build a VP. I know it's not a pinball replacement, but it's something that can be added to your collection. Like I said, to play some games you don't have, and it can be fun, and if it's set up right, it's actually a lot of fun. And like I said, maybe if there's enough interest, I can do a more detailed video later of actually how I built it. But this is more of just to kind of give you some ideas, show you some features, maybe show you some things that are a little out of the ordinary, a little unorthodox, you know, how I did my screens and stuff, to give you some ideas. And hope you liked it. We'll talk to you on the next one.